I don't believe what I just saw.
This is one of the great moments in the history of baseball.
You believe in miracles? Yes!
Is this the dagger?
March 8th, on this day in sports. In this episode, a who's who of 70s celebrities gathers for a sporting event. A Canadian movie that a few people actually left their homes to go and see. The NBA does a do-over. The National League decides less is more. The NHL deals with an ugly on-ice incident. The basketball world's epicenter becomes a city called Stores. And it's the end of an era in Seattle. Plus, the Blue Jays make a really long-term commitment to a pitcher, a golfer makes a long-term commitment to winning, and Martina makes a mental breakthrough. And speaking of mental breakthroughs...
Wow, that was great.
Sandy Jobbin Bevins, you're...
Bevins. Jesus.
He's jobbing, he's working. Sandy is here to be jobbing and working... Sandy Jobbin Bevins, pardon me. Please, will you give us our sponsor?
Thank you, Mike. Nice to meet you.
Give us?
This has been great. What a great night to meet everybody.
You're out there jobbing.
They're jobbing. Here he is, jobbing with the Bevins. We like to thank Cabin. Cabin is Cabin Barber and Gentleman Supply. This is where we are right now, recording this podcast. This is the kind of place you go to get cleaned up. You get yourself a haircut, you get yourself a shave, you get yourself some gentleman's supplies, if you will. There is no lack of gentleman's supplies in this building. It's beautiful. It smells like a gentleman you want to hang out with. Yeah. We are proud to have Cabin, of course, as a sponsor. Great place to come down. We're in Port Credit right now. By the way, it's the Port Credit location you check out. There's some locations down in Toronto as well, Union Station included. So just go down, get your haircut, get excited, come out of there all cleaned up, and even maybe have a Cabin sweatshirt, which we are now in year 5 of begging the ownership to give us these sweatshirts.
Really,
we're running
really
out of
cold.
We're running out of days for this podcast, and we still don't have a sweatshirt.
We need that sweatshirt. So please check out Cabin Barber and Gentleman Supply. For more, check out cabinforlife.ca. Now, this is Matt. You wanted to say you had a gasp.
I did have a gasp. I just wanted to throw out Cabin Barber and Gentleman Supply, amazing. But do want to throw out that March 8th, International Women's Day.
Absolutely. So we've just we're sponsored by Cabin Gentlemen's. It's a gentleman's club, and a real gentleman respects the ladies.
It's not a gentleman's club. No, just to be clear.
All right.
Don't come down to Port Credit expecting a gentleman's club.
I just wanted to say it was International Women's Day.
Thank you.
And already it's gone off course from any of
Cabin
that.
is a place to get your haircut. It is not.
Let's be very clear.
Now, I'll tell you, it is International Women's Day. So we're going to feature a few stories about a few women and make sure that's a feature of today. But once again, in no way is this a gentleman's club.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike, why don't you get us out of this and tell us about something that happened on March 8th?
Okay. March 8th, 2010. The University of Connecticut Huskies set a new NCAA women's basketball record by winning their 71st consecutive game over Notre Dame in the Big East tournament. They broke their own record, which they had set between 01 and 03, and won the national championship later that month. The Huskies women's team does not nearly get enough national recognition. They have won 11 national championships since 1995. They also won 4 in a row between 2013 and 2016, and they later broke this record that they set on this day by winning 126 consecutive games between 14 and 19. We talk a lot about, are the Warriors a dynasty? Are the Patriots a dynasty? That's a dynasty. Mm-hmm. That team has won consistently for 25 years.
With many different players.
And it's a who's who. Who's played there is I mentioned Rebecca Lobo, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, Brianna Stewart, Sue Bird, Bria Hartley, Nikisha Sales, Kara Walters. It's like a who's who of women's basketball. Gino Aremia has a winning percentage of over 850 at the University of Connecticut. That's a dynasty, and they don't get nearly enough run when people talk about, sort of empires and dynasties of the sports. So I wanted to get to them right away.
Speaking of empires and dynasties, In 2002, Canadian movie Men with Brooms was released in theaters, directed, co-written, and starring Paul Gross of Due South fame, which was a show in Canada, but also across the border as well. It was a comedy about a small-town curling team that reunited to honor their late coach, played in flashbacks by Leslie Nielsen. The soundtrack features songs from the Tragically Hip, New Pornographers, and Big Sugar. It grossed over $4 million in Canada, which at the time was pretty good. But let's not forget, International Women's Day, Molly Parker was a star in that movie. And Molly Parker, of course, has gone on to be in Deadwood, House of Cards, Dexter, Goliath, all sorts of stuff. A very reliable, solid actress who also was in a movie called Kissed. And that was one that really shocked people because, of course, this is about a woman that suddenly gets into a necrophilia. And I will tell you a personal story, which was I dated a girl.
Not a necrophilia story.
God, no.
Okay,
this is not Gentleman's Club. This is not a necrophilia story. I dated a girl who lived below Molly Parker and had just seen Kissed and didn't know she lived above her. And to just suddenly see someone in a movie like that live creeped me out. Completely creeped me out.
Sure.
And then she went on later to stardom, and I couldn't remember the name of the movie, but I would constantly say, "Isn't that girl that was in that movie where she had sex with a corpse?"
Yes, Dad, it is. Isn't that the girl from? She was in that thing.
Yeah, it was gross. It was gross, and but hell of an actress. Men with Brooms, International Women's Day. Matt, take it away.
I just wonder, did anybody audition for Men with Brooms?
Did not? Did you?
No.
No.
Okay.
No,
what about the series? No.
No, they're not interested. They said.
Good to know.
I get that a lot.
All right, I'm going to go March 8th, 1975. In Boston, an 18-year-old tennis player, Martina Navratilova, upsets Yvonne Goolagong to win the National Women's Indoor Tennis Tournament. Navratilova, yes, thank you, had lost her previous 7 matches to Goolagong, failing to win a set in any of those matches. Wow. So ultimately, she credited her aggressive play. This is Navratilova with overcoming a mental block. Like she just felt like she had this mental block, and so she was going to play very aggressive in this game, and it led to her getting this win. Finally getting that off her back. So that was great.
It's too bad Martina's career didn't really turn out after that, though. That
didn't make it.
As I recall, that was her last big win, right?
That was it.
That is not true.
What?
Of course, the amazing career.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
That National Women's Indoor Tennis Tournament was also known as the Virginia Slims of Boston.
Ah,
right.
Okay.
Interesting name for a tournament.
Well, it was. I think that's a cigarette company.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
They don't really allow that so much.
They don't allow it anymore. Virginia Slims ads were all over Sports Illustrated when we were kids.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah.
Well, Benson and Hedges used to sponsor everything. And no, none of that anymore.
Every old ballpark had their Winston and all that stuff. Marlboro was in Astrodome forever.
And all the old baseball players used to do ads for them, too.
Sure they did. Yeah, sure they did.
I love to smoke on a Parliament.
Yeah.
I mean, baseball's kind of one of the sports where you could maybe, smoke.
Yeah, and there's managers who were smoking during the game.
Yeah.
Like Earl Weaver was huffing a dart.
Jim Leland
huffing a dart.
And Guy Lafleur famously used to smoke between periods.
Yep.
It's
the way to go.
And Bossy was a big smoker too, and we lost both of them.
So don't smoke, kids.
Yeah, so don't smoke,
kids.
Never mind the Virginia Slims. Okay, let's change the topic.
Sure.
In 1900, on March 8th.
Great year.
You remember it well. The National League voted to shrink from 12 teams to 8. They paid the owners of the Baltimore Orioles, yes, that was the National League team back then, $30,000 to just go away and allowed them to sell all of their players. It also meant the end for the Louisville Colonels, the Washington Senators, and the Cleveland Spiders, one of Sandy's favorite teams, who finished the 1899 season with an NL record worst 20-134 record for a 130 win-loss percentage.
Wow.
That is an all-time record of futility. Hard to believe the Spiders didn't come back. The National League remained the same 8 teams for decades, until the Boston Braves moved to Milwaukee in 1953, and the NL did not add any teams until 1962. So they shrunk from 12 to 8. There wasn't even a World Series at that time. You just kind of won the National League, and that was it. But they shrank a little bit, and there was no more Louisville Colonels.
There was talk when they were dropping the name of the Indians, bringing back the Spiders. There was they got the Guardians. They were talking about bringing back the Spiders.
Yeah. It would have been interesting, I don't know. I might have liked it better than Guardians. I mean, obviously, it's better than what they had.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's debating that, but I think we could have done better than Guardians.
Sure.
Anyway,
sure. Yeah.
I don't live there.
You don't live there. That's very true. That's very true. Okay. 1971, Joe Frazier ended Muhammad Ali's 31-bout winning streak with a unanimous 15-round decision win at Madison Square Garden in what was called the fight of the century. It was the first time two undefeated boxers who had both been champions ever fought one another. It's been called the most anticipated sporting event in history and was the first of their three legendary fights, which concluded with the Thrilla in Manila in 1975 with Mike. Your uncle was at the Thrilla in Manila.
He was. We'll have him on.
That is so crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it is crazy.
He
was traveling around the world at the time and was in the Philippines at the time and saw it like from the top of the stadium too. He said he had like better view than most people because they were up at the top and could see everything.
Wow.
It was 125 degrees.
I was going to say it was super legendary.
But that's not the fight we're talking about. Sorry.
It was a clash of Ali's anti-war, anti-establishment persona, which cost him the title years earlier, versus Frazier's pro-war establishment mindset. There's a lot of personal animosity in this one. Celebrities in attendance included Norman Mailer, Woody Allen, Ted Kennedy, Diana Ross, Walt Frazier, Miles Davis. The fight was so hard to get into that Frank Sinatra had to agree to take photographs for Life magazine in order to get a ringside seat. It was the first time Ali was knocked down in his career. Two interesting things. The Frank Sinatra thing made me think of Burt Lancaster used to work boxing matches. So Burt Lancaster would walk around and go, I'm down here in the audience talking about this, that. You look at old footage from the 70s, and it's Burt Lancaster, sideline reporter, basically, going around to all the fans and talking to people that went to these games. Wow. Second one is, if you're a chance to check out, or maybe you own, the large-size Superman comic book where he's fighting Muhammad Ali, Superman versus Muhammad Ali.
Oh, wow.
The cover is two front and back, opens up, and it's all the 70s stars of the 70s in the crowd watching this fight between Ali and Superman, which has to be based on this.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So you look at it's just, and inside they tell you but it's just every star of the 70s is in the crowd in this drawing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Elliot Gould.
They're all there. They're all there.
They're all there.
Now, when you first said Frank Sinatra had to take photos, I thought you meant he had to
Of himself?
Well, no, I thought he just had to be, of the fight of other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not.
That's what he is. Yeah.
I
For
thought
Life magazine.
No,
I thought he had to be in photos.
No.
After thinking,
He went around with a camera, and the photos in the spread of the story were by Frank Sinatra. Like, that's how he got to be
so
ringside.
he was their photographer on site.
Yeah, it was like
so he could get in.
a gimmicky thing, but yeah.
Huh.
I guess Frank was an amateur shutterbug a bit. And
Whatever reason.
yeah.
That's how he got in.
Yeah.
But incredible history right there, and that crowd alone is a time capsule.
Yeah, and hard to imagine how amped and hyped up that fight must have been.
And actually paid off.
Yeah, and actually lived up to it.
Yeah.
And they did two more, and they all kind of lived up to it. Pretty amazing. I feel like we could do a whole podcast on the Ali Frazier 3 fights.
Yes.
But let's keep going.
All right.
March
8th, 2008. Lindsay Vonn set a U.S. record previously held by Piccabo Street and Darren Rolfs by winning her 10th World Cup downhill race in Crans, Montana, Switzerland. She won the race in 1 minute, 23.57 seconds. That's very specific. It was a 1.4 mile course that was shortened because of poor visibility near the top. But still, that's pretty incredible.
Do you think that secretly the U.S. Olympic Committee was happy that she won just because someone named Peekaboo would no longer hold the record?
Piccabo? Is it
It's Peekaboo.
It's Peekaboo?
You
I
don't
thought it
know
was
that?
Peekaboo.
No, it is Peekaboo. Her parents let her name herself when she was a child, and she named herself Peekaboo. I'm not kidding.
Well,
That's not a joke.
wow.
Her name, it's pronounced Peekaboo. Now I'm saying it wrong. Sandy Job and Bevins, will you tell me?
Well,
Peekaboo.
my apologies to Peekaboo.
No, but I think the Olympic Committee was probably glad she was out of the record books now.
I did want to add that Lindsay Vonn, in addition to setting that U.S. record, she also speaks fluent German. That's one thing.
Thank you.
But she's also in a 2010 episode of Law and Order playing a secretary. And this may come back later. We may,
athletes turn actors.
Yeah,
Foreshadowing.
yeah.
Foreshadowing.
A little
Yes.
foreshadowing there.
Stay tuned.
Just a past shadowing. I just had an update here. Some of the drawings in that Muhammad Ali versus Superman comic book. Frank Sinatra, Lucille Ball, Tony Orlando.
Oh, sure.
Johnny Carson, the entire cast of Welcome Back, Kotter.
The entire
Jackson 5
cast.
were there. And, of course, Jimmy Carter and his wife, Rosalind.
Wow.
So if you get a chance, check out that cover. I can't tell you enough, guys. I can't tell you enough how sweet that cover would be enough. Yep.
All right, March 8th, 2004. Vancouver Canucks' Todd Bertuzzi became famous for all the wrong reasons. Late in the game between the Canucks and Avalanche, Bertuzzi he grabbed Colorado Steve Moore's jersey. He punched him in the back of the head from behind, and then to make matters worse, he fell on top of him before two of Moore's teammates could jump in. The combination of the punch, the fall, and the pile-on resulted in a broken neck and concussion for Moore. He was motionless on the ice for quite a while before he was stretchered off, and he never played in the NHL again, never played hockey again. It led to both criminal and civil cases being levied against Bertuzzi. They settled out of court in 2014. And after being suspended for the entire 04-05 season for the incident, he returned and played all 82 games for the Canucks in 05 and 06. I remember when this happened. This was like, people talked about this for months.
Yep.
It was like on the regular news all the time. It was a huge deal. Hockey came under a lot of criticism for it, for the culture of hockey. I do think it led to a lot of changes that we see in the game now. You know what I mean? There's a lot less of that stuff now. They call a lot more of that kind of stuff. I feel like Bertuzzi is like, he wore that, he did it, he should, you know, but I mean, we've all seen worse than that didn't have the same consequences physically. He was unlucky in the sense that Moore really got injured badly on a kind of a quirky way. But it was a landmark thing. Like, I do remember how talked about this incident was and how ugly it looked for a long time. The irony is the year before, Bertuzzi had finished 5th in Hart Trophy voting.
Wow.
Like, he was that good a player
Exactly,
the year before.
Yeah.
And he'll always wear, like, that'll always be what goes with his name, that incident.
He certainly wasn't going to win the Lady Byng that year.
No.
That would have
I don't think he got any votes for that year.
Well, yeah, it is pretty sad because he was rattled, obviously. I mean, obviously he Moore got the worst of it.
Yes.
But it did completely, even when he came back, he was sort of a shell of what he was.
Well, he played 9 more years, but he was never as good.
No.
And it's also ironic, too, I bring this up because did you see in the queue, they've announced next year there's no more fighting.
Zero fighting.
They have announced there is no more fighting allowed. If you fight, you are thrown out of that game and thrown out of the next game, too.
Well, what's currently on the table with the NHL is that if you instigate a fight, you get the penalty, and if you're just defending yourself, no penalty. So if someone starts punching at you, you don't have to fight back. You can just kind of turtle, and you don't get any. You're just no penalty.
So you incentivize non-fighting then.
There's no instigator penalty anymore, like right now, is there?
No.
But there used to be. Like they used to have that.
So now it'll just be if you instigate, you get a penalty, and if you're defending yourself, you get nothing. Yeah. That would be a huge.
Yeah, that's interesting. That'd be a sea change, won't it?
Now, this is going to be dedicated to my nephew, Evan, because he brought this up a lot this past football season. 2022, the Seahawks officially ended an era trading quarterback Russell Wilson to the Broncos and releasing linebacker Bobby Wagner. The Russell Wilson deal was every single week Evan would call and say, when are they going to stop showing Broncos games as the featured game of the week? It's over. Russell Wilson is over. This is so stupid. And it really was. They had lined up the year to show you every single Broncos game because they were so excited about Russell Wilson, and they were horrible. Yeah. And they just continue to pump it out as the game of the week. Yep. And every week he would say, this has to stop. So, Evan, that's for you. I agree.
It's kind of like the Lakers this year, too, right? Like, they thought the Lakers are on every TNT broadcast. Yep. The Lakers aren't even 500. They're, like, not even going to make the play-in tournament.
Yeah. It doesn't even seem possible how horrible they are.
I know.
But they bank on it, and the thing is, people still watch them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
1972. Rod Gilbert of the Rangers scored his 40th goal of the season during a 3-3 tie with Chicago. It marked the first time in the NHL history that all 3 members of a line each scored 40 in a season. The other members of that line, of course, Vic Hadfield and Jean Rattel. They had both already reached the plateau earlier that season. This, of course, was the gag line, the goal-a-game line. That trio combined for 139 goals and 212 points that season. Apparently, they got along off the ice, too, which is nice.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah, of course, Rod Gilbert, Mr. Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you, have you ever have we had a chance to look at that old Jeans commercial with the Rangers from the 70s?
I have, Mike, have you seen the...
Well worth it,
only
friends.
in my dreams.
I'll make sure I get the name of the jeans correct because I think even Esposito's in a pair of jeans, but I think it might be, I almost certainly think Langway's got to be
Is it Sasson?
Yeah, I think it might be Sasson.
Beautiful.
Well worth it.
Did you know that Roger Bear his career was almost ended before it began? Like he slipped skating on some debris and broke his back.
Jeez.
And had to have surgery and play with a brace for a while. Very early in his career.
Wow.
Sasson jeans is correct, Mike. 1979, though, much
I had a
later
pair
on, 7
myself.
years later, but definitely worth
Ian
it.
Ron Greshner.
Ron Greshner, Ron Duguay, Dave Maloney, Anders Hedberg, and of course Phil Esposito wearing those jeans. That's a great Rangers fact, Matt, from 72.
Yeah.
What a great Rangers fact from 79.
Wait, okay, this ad was 79?
Yeah.
And a different, okay.
I just went Rangers 70s because that's all that sticks in my head is that Sasson.
Here's a question. For a team that's been around that long, who's the greatest Ranger of all time?
Greatest Ranger of all time. Like
it's
you can
a
seriously...
It's a weird thing because I think for all the other original sixes, I can give you 3 or 4 names.
Yep.
Who's the greatest Ranger? Like is Rod Gilbert the greatest
Well,
Ranger of all
he is
time?
Mr. Ranger.
I think
I think that would be
he is, but I wouldn't say he was a household name like any of the, like Gordie Howe or Bobby Orr or anybody like that.
No,
you know what I mean? The Rangers kind of don't have that guy.
Because they bring in a Messier later and they win.
For
They
sure.
bring in Gretzky.
For sure.
All these guys that played, they were later.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, Duguay was definitely because of his hair and all that stuff. He was
and
definitely
Brian
a guy.
Leach and Mike Richter, lifelong or pretty much like lifelong Rangers. But it's an interesting thing, isn't it? They don't really have a pantheon guy in the same way.
No.
Anyway, I'll shut up about that now.
No, it's good.
2008, on March 8th, in the first do-over game in NBA history, Atlanta defeated Miami. Now, on December 19th, 2007, Atlanta's official scorer mistakenly fouled out Shaquille O'Neal with 52 seconds left in overtime, and the Hawks were up by 3. But Shaq only had 5 fouls at the time, not 6. Miami appealed, and the game was ordered to be replayed. The replay, of course, was anticlimactic as neither team scored, and the Hawks won by the exact same score. And ironically, Shaq couldn't play in that game anyway because he had been traded to Phoenix by that point.
That's incredible.
I know, but you don't hear about do-over games very often. Like, they always appeal decisions. It never happens. They actually appealed, and they were heard.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
That is very unusual, of course. Well, I guess I'm going to go with the real quick hit.
Yeah.
28-year-old Sabres center Dale Hawerchuk scored the 1,000th point of his career during a 5-3 loss to the Blackhawks in 1991. 1991, a rookie goalie named Dominic Hasek, never heard of him, got the first win of his career in that game. So that might actually be more interesting. But that was Hawerchuk, Hasek, and that was his first ever win. So it's interesting because if Hasek got his win as a Blackhawk.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting fact, too. It was not as a Sabre.
No. Does that bring us into quick hits? Or
I think there's one thing I think there's maybe one thing you got to get to because you alluded to it in our opening, did you not?
Yeah, it doesn't mean we can't be a quick hit.
Okay, go for it.
No, it's Kippen's turn. I just was...
Do we have quick hits or we're just doing things? Okay.
Yeah, just do...
What do we got?
All right, I got some. Hey.
Hey, we got quick hits, so
you
we
want a
just
quick
doing
hit?
things.
Hold on your socks. Here's a quick hit. 1994, Bulls teammates Scottie Pippen and Pete Myers both record 4-point plays in the fourth quarter of a 116-95 win versus Atlanta in Chicago. So they became the first teammates in NBA history to do so in the same game, much less the same quarter.
Wow. 1992, Raymond Floyd, 49 years old at the time, won the Doral Open for the 3rd time in his career. It made him the 2nd golfer ever, with Sam Snead, to win PGA tournament events in 4 different decades. He won in 1963. He won the Florida St. Petersburg Open. That was his first. He won the PGA Championship in 69, the Masters in 76, the U.S. Open in 86. There can't be many guys who won the majors in 3 different decades either. By the way, he won the 1976 Masters by 8 strokes, the 3rd largest margin of victory in Masters history behind Tiger and Jack Nicklaus.
Whoa. I want that to be the end of every quick hit. Whoa. Yeah,
okay. New rule. We have to do that every time somebody has a quick hit.
2019, U.S. national women's soccer team sued for equal pay by filing a gender discrimination lawsuit against the United States Soccer Federation in 2019.
Whoa! Oh, we're not doing that?
That's topical because there's a pay raise now in the World Cup coming up. So,
And the Canadian women just basically did the same thing too, right? They
Mm-hmm.
were just protesting too, and I think they've made some headway with that too, which is good.
Quick hit.
Quick hit. 1986, Philadelphia's Tim Kerr set an NHL record by scoring his 29th power play goal of the season during a game versus New Jersey. He ended that season with 34 power play goals, still the most in a season in NHL history.
Oh, birthdays!
We're moving on.
1942.
Kip and finished it.
March 8, 1942. Should be Hall of Famer Dick Allen, born in Wampum, Pennsylvania. Wampum, Wampum. Dick Allen, completely robbed because the press didn't like him, essentially. Dick Allen, one of the coolest guys to ever play baseball.
Speaking of guys who smoked in the dugout.
Smoked in the dugout. On the cover of Sports Illustrated, smoking a dart and juggling baseballs. Yep, in the dugout.
They don't make him like that anymore.
No, Dick Allen should be in the Hall of Fame, and that was his birthday in 1942.
Ironically, in 1953, dubious Hall of Famer, Boston Red Sox outfielder Jim Rice was born in Anderson, South Carolina. When I was at spring training in the late 90s, he was a coach for the Red Sox. And I'm not one to solicit autographs a lot, but JV and I were there, and he was walking by, and we sort of kind of tried to, because the spring training it's less formal. The guys do that a lot. We hollered at him, and he turned to me and said, "I'm doing something," and kept walking. So hats off to you, Mr. Rice.
Yeah, nice. I'm doing something.
I'm doing something. Okay. Never mind.
As children, my brother and I, he asked Andre the Giant for an autograph, and he said no.
Oh,
he was a villain at the time. Maybe he was just playing
it
a role.
up. Yeah,
all right. He was also checking out from a hotel, and maybe he was just busy.
Maybe he was just busy.
Hey, I got a birth for you. 1939, Soviet speed skating legend Lydia Skoblikova. Lydia Skoblikova was born in Zayatos, is how I'm going to say it, Russia. She won 6 gold medals between the 1960 and 1964 Olympics, being the most successful single athlete at both of those Olympics. I think she shared that honor in 1960 with Yevgeny Grishin, but still most successful. Won 6 gold medals between 2 Olympics. That's amazing.
Not too bad. 1940, golf legend Jack Nicklaus. This is more golf information than I've ever spoken in my life.
Sure.
Golf legend Jack Nicklaus, born in Columbus, Ohio. His 18 major tournament wins is the most all-time, 3 more than Tiger, and he won 73 PGA events in his career, 3rd all-time behind Sam Snead and Tiger Woods. Interesting, isn't it, that there was a time where Nicklaus's record of 18 majors looked like it was only a matter of time, like Tiger was going to crush that and win 25 majors. And yet, that hasn't really been how it turned out. And Nicklaus's record has proven much more difficult to overcome than we thought.
1988, fantasy football fanatic and clubhouse gem, Tommy Pham, born in Las Vegas, Nevada. Of course, Tommy Pham and Jock Peterson getting in a slap-up over a football pool run by Mike Trout. And we all know about that. And Tommy Pham, we also know that he just can't seem to stick around one team because he's always angry.
Yeah, he's on about his 9th MLB team right now. Isn't
Incredible.
He? Yeah.
It's incredible.
Jeez.
Just going to drop something over here real quick.
Frank just woke up. What the hell?
Well, I'm going to move on. We went from births, and sadly, I'm going to go to deaths. March 8th. I'm sorry to bring it down, but in 1937, Canadiens legend Howie Morenz died suddenly at age 34 due to blood clots in his leg. 6 weeks earlier, he had suffered a severely fractured leg during a game versus game versus Chicago. He played for Montreal. Howie did, of course. Over 200,000 people lined the streets of Montreal to catch a glimpse of his funeral procession. His funeral was held at the Montreal Forum with 50,000 fans passing the casket.
Wow.
Of course, he was the Stratford Streak, the town he grew up on. He was born in Mitchell, so was also named the Mitchell Meteor for Mitchell, Ontario.
Those 2 towns fight for
fight for him.
Credit for him.
And in 1950, the Canadian Press poll, for Hockey Player of the Half Century, so from 1900 to 1950, Morenz won in a landslide, receiving 27 votes, and the next highest was 4 votes for Maurice Richard.
Wow.
Whoa.
I mean, though Richard did go on to play another 10 incredible years after that, he had already played 8 seasons by 1950. So the fact that Morenz won such a landslide vote is incredible. He was known for his trademark speedy rushes up the ice, and what's notable about that is for the first 6 years that he played in the NHL, you couldn't make forward passes in the offensive zones. Pretty crazy, eh? So you couldn't make forward passes in the offensive zone. So, it made sense to rush up the ice with the puck to streak.
Want to know a little known fact about Howie Morenz?
No.
Yeah.
Good. We're not. No. His daughter was married to Boom Boom Jeffrion.
Really?
Yep. She married Boom Boom Jeffrion. First time I ever did Off the Record. Boom Boom was a guest, and his wife was there because Boom Boom didn't want to talk about hockey. He only wanted to talk about his charity.
Oh.
It was a struggle. But I remember she kept coming over and going, well, we should talk a little about the hockey first, okay? And then, okay, but then I want to talk about my charity. And then that was Howie Morenz's daughter.
Oh, wow.
Hockey Hall of Famer. 1993, another death. Charlie Gehringer, the mechanical man, played all 19 MLB seasons at second base for the Detroit Tigers. It was 1937 AL MVP, 6-time All-Star, received MVP votes for 10 straight seasons between 31 and 40, voted the Hall of Fame in 1949. One of just 5 second basemen to win AL MVP. Anyone else? Joe Gordon, Dustin Pedroia, Jose Altuve, and Nellie Fox are the other 4, but he's only one of 5 second base. That's the least amount in the Hall of Fame, isn't it? Second base?
It's not a Hall of Fame, it's MVP.
MVP, okay. Because I thought MVP also, or like Hall of Famers is just very few second base.
It probably is one of them. I think catcher and third base are small too.
Yeah.
Because Roland's only like the 18th third baseman or so. It's a very small number too.
It's a small, I think second is the, but yeah, Gehringer played in those great teams with Hank Greenberg, Mickey Cochran. All those years they won a couple World Series that way. At least one World Series.
Yeah, the Tigers haven't won many, but I think they won one. Yeah.
And I believe he was a very popular player, especially because he was voted in very early into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Also on March 8th in 1999, Joe DiMaggio, legendary Yankees outfielder, passed away. He was a legendary Yankees outfielder. Just ask him. I'm not sure Joe was mourned by a lot of his teammates at the time, but he's unquestionably in the pantheon of one of the great players of all time. This is an amazing statistic. You think about how guys strike out these days and stuff like that. Joe DiMaggio career, 361 home runs, 369 strikeouts. Try to wrap your head around that for a second.
Wow. Yeah, it's not even
Think
close
about
to
how
this,
guys are striking out 200 times a year now.
Yeah.
Think about that. He had a good amount of home runs. Like he was hitting 25, 30 a year, and he traded strikeouts for home runs his whole career. That's astonishing. That'll never, like nobody will.
No one's even close.
Wow. No, that ratio blows my head off.
Well, he was always said that he had to be introduced as the greatest living Yankee.
Yeah.
He had to be introduced as the greatest living Yankee every Hall of Fame or every old timers game. What's that?
We buried him on this podcast about that a few episodes ago.
We did. And so that was his thing because Mantle and Whitey Ford and those guys would call him the greatest living asshole.
Oh man.
Not super popular old DiMaggio with the other guys, but he's a world class prick. I'm just gonna say it.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, I think he was.
Whoa.
But hey, you can't deny. Hell of a ball player.
You know, Sandy, he might have just been playing a prick. Like, he might be a pretty good actor.
Oh, you know those stories. Yeah, come on.
You know what I mean? See what I'm doing there?
Sure,
I'm tying it all together.
Sure, I want to get there in a second. Do you want to get, that's a perfect segue. I do agree.
I'll go back to it.
But again, those stories where he'd go to a card show, he'd say, what's Ted Williams signing for? $20. I'm 25. And he was competitive in the autograph sections too. Like he's like, I am the highest paid guy signing cards anywhere we go. I have to. And he would just walk away if they didn't do it.
Wow.
I think it's in a way tragic because he loved his paraphernalia and all his stuff that he kept in his mansion in San Francisco more than he loved people. It was like he just had to keep all his stuff. So sad, but he also married an actress named Marilyn Monroe.
There you go. You tied it back in.
There we go.
Look at you.
So
good.
We have talked about career changes. You had Sinatra going from a singer to a photographer.
Thank you.
We did talk about Lindsay Vonn being on Law and Order. That's an athlete who then went into acting.
Yep. Mike, can you make your list louder when you open it? Jeez.
Frankie, you getting this?
What's he putting? It's like he's got stovetop on the oven there.
That's fine. It's popcorn. Yeah.
Thank you.
I like to have a snack.
What's on the back? Is that sheet music?
Yeah. I did scrap paper. I don't know. Okay, so our category for the draft.
Yes.
For our Dork Draft is we're going to draft athletes who became actors or went on to become actors after their career was over.
Yep.
They have to have played athletics at some sort of level. You can't count like he played high school hockey. It's got to have been at some level. And as Matt pointed out when we were talking about this, I think we're going to have 3 different categories for our actors too, right? We're going to have comedy, drama, and action.
So-
Right? Because
so-
the
go ahead.
action category is, there's a lot of those
Yes,
kind of
sure
guys,
there is,
right?
yeah.
So it's a little harder to find dudes who
Yeah.
can successfully pull off the comedy and drama elements. So we're going to do one of each. Am I explaining
Correct.
that
Yeah,
correctly?
we're each going to cast our blockbuster movie here.
Yep.
And we got to
The starry one of each of those
need
genres.
an action star, we need a drama star, and
Right.
a comedy star. to
Okay.
headline our movies.
Gotcha. So I think that's pretty clear now.
I hope so.
And Sandy, you will go last in this one, of course. No. Who?
I always go last. You're going first,
I'm
Mike.
first. Okay. So then there's no doubt who I'm going to pick first off. He played college basketball at St. Mary's College for 4 years. Mahershala Ali is my pick.
Great
He's
choice.
already won 2 Oscars. It's hard to argue with that kind of career. He's a 2-time Oscar winner. There aren't many of those. And he was a starter on a college basketball team in Division I. I think that qualifies as being a good enough athlete. So my first overall pick is Mahershala Ali.
And sorry, are you what movie are you putting him in? Did you say?
He's in La La Land.
No,
Wait,
I mean, are you putting him as your action
Moonlight.
drama? or
No,
comedy?
sorry. Oh, he's my drama actor.
Drama.
Of course.
Okay,
yes.
so
Can't
you filled your
believe I-
drama.
Yeah,
Matt talked over my killer joke.
I'm so sorry, Sandy.
God.
it's okay. You know what? Take revenge out of him now. And
I think I go next in this
okay.
one. I go last in I'm going. I'm also taking my drama star. I might need you guys might have to. I need some judgment on this one, but I want to take Gina Davis. And the reason I want to take Gina Davis is not only did she win an Oscar for The Accidental Tourist, but she took up archery in the late 90s and ended up qualifying for the U.S. Olympic team trial for the 2000 Games in Sydney. She also won a tournament in Florence. At one point, she was practicing for 5 hours a day, 6 days a week, shooting 500 arrows a day. Will you accept Gina Davis and her making the U.S. Olympic team trials?
I mean, I will. I'm a little mad that you stepped on my Mahershala Ali joke. But,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I
let's
guess so.
let's do it. Let's revisit it. Let's revisit it.
The joke?
Yeah.
Okay, ask Mike what movie did he win the Oscar for?
What movie did he win the Oscar for?
La La Land. Wait, I mean Moonlight. Didn't work as well in the moment, did it?
No,
Matt? Did it, Matt?
No.
No.
You know who could have sold that joke? Gina Davis, because she is my
Warren Beatty.
drama actor.
Warren Beatty.
Well, he was the guy who announced it. Okay. Yeah, sure. I don't care. Sure.
It's fine. It's fine.
There's no.
I mean, you didn't take one of my picks.
Yeah.
So why would I be upset about that?
All right.
Absolutely. Okay, Sandman, yours.
Yeah, man. Okay. I got it.
She's
down
your
to-
dramatic actress, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one of the best comedic moments by any athlete, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in a movie called Airplane. If you haven't seen it, stop right now and go and see it. It's so fantastic. It's so dry. He does really nothing, and that's the best part of it all.
He is very funny.
And it's a great reveal as he's denied the entire movie to that kid that he's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He passes out and he gets dragged away and he's wearing his shorts and knee pads.
Very
So
good.
I'm going to give my comedy choice to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Very good. Very good. Hard to argue. Okay, then I am going to take for my comedy actor. Well, I don't think there's any debate. I got to go with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Played college football at Florida State University. Would have probably played more, but blew one knee on the field and was in a really bad car accident, which he lost his spleen and had his other knee injured. He missed 2 years. But anyway, Burt Reynolds, one of the great comic actors from a generation ago. Cannonball Run, Smokey and the Bandit, Citizen Ruth, he's really good in. Boogie Nights.
Yep.
Also, a little personal note, I was in his very last movie that he ever did.
What was that?
It's called Defining Moments.
Uh-huh.
It won't change your life.
It won't be a defining moment for you.
It is because it was for me because
Okay.
I got to meet Mr. Burt Reynolds in a makeup trailer.
Mr. Burt Reynolds.
As he's
Burt
known.
Reynolds.
Nice.
He did not insist I call him that. He was
Thank you.
a great cat, and I
Nice.
only met him for a few minutes, but he was really cool. And so he's my pick for my comic actor, Mr. Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, I like that choice. Now, just to clarify, Gina Davis was your what actor?
Drama.
Drama. Okay, that's drama. Okay, got it. And Mahershala Ali was your drama actor.
That's right.
So, wait a minute. Do you have two drama actors, Mike?
No, I
No,
just
Burt
said
Reynolds was his
is
comedy.
Oh, that was your
You
comedy.
literally just said that.
Your comedy. No, I just know it was your comedy choice. I was like, wait a minute. Well, listen. Mistakes are made in the show.
Yeah.
Pete Peters, great example.
Exactly.
Pete
right?
Peters. So that does
I called
happen.
you Sandy Job and Bevins.
Now, I know, Mike, you'll never make a mistake on this podcast
Ever.
ever again, picking the wrong guys.
No.
Okay.
I picked 2 right wingers.
This is great because you've got, now I've got whoever I want, pretty
this is
much.
true.
This is wide open to whatever I want to do. So drama I can leave for a bit, right? 'Cause
Correct.
You guys are both
Correct.
drama.
We both
I can
take
leave
our
that
drama.
behind. But I better jump
Not
in.
that long a draft. But
All right.
we're not going 20 rounds.
All right. Okay. Well, what the heck? Action. This is kind of a tough one for me. I could go a couple different ways, but I'm going to go with Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Minor league baseball player Kurt Russell. And if you haven't seen the Battered Bastards of Baseball, definitely worth checking out. But Kurt Russell, though he blew his rotator cuff and that ended his baseball dream. But I would definitely recommend anything. I mean, Snake Plissken. I mean, that's his action star. But as good as it gets. I'm just trying to remember now.
It's also Wyatt Earp.
It's also Wyatt Earp. That's
Yeah,
right.
like-
That's right. And his kid's name is Wyatt.
That's right.
Wyatt Russell. Wyatt Russell also. I mean, if you're really, he also was a bit of a jock as well.
Hockey player, right?
I believe that's correct. Yeah. So I mean, it continues to go, Matt.
You know, Kurt Russell, he was in consideration or thought of for Bull Durham as well. They knew
Well,
he
that makes
played.
sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
They knew he played, and not that Costner didn't play a little. I don't know if it was high school or what it was that he played, but apparently his swing looked good enough.
No,
and-
Costner does look good playing. Like
He does
At
look
no
like
point do you go,
No.
Tim Robbins.
Maybe not.
There's a few moments where you're like,
And speaking of Wyatt, if you want to see a great, in my opinion, baseball movie, everybody wants some. Super
Oh, yeah,
fun
it is
baseball
great.
movie. Wyatt's in there. Linkletter made.
Yeah.
Wyatt plays a great character. A lot of great characters. That great college baseball movie. If you
Yeah,
want to check it out,
it is.
by Linkletter. Everybody wants some. Okay, Kurt Russell. There's my action choice.
Matt.
Okay, I'm going to stick with action. I'm going to go Bruce Lee. Like
Whoa.
Bruce Lee. Because you got, not only was he did martial arts, also an award-winning cha-cha dancer. Then went on to be an amazing action star.
Okay.
Okay.
You can just pick ones that aren't questionable.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what?
Sometimes
No,
I
take
just-
it.
All right,
Take it.
no,
it's fine. No, it's fine. No.
I
You
get
made your
it.
choice.
I get it.
You made your choice.
No. You
made
made
your
your
choice.
All right.
Yeah, you live with it.
Archery. All right. So now, okay. So I was debating who I was going to take because I haven't taken my action star yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I am going to take, just to run in direct opposition to Matt,
Yeah.
because I think
Yeah.
it'll make things spicy.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the first Westerner ever to be named an 8th degree black belt grandmaster in Taekwondo, Mr. Chuck Norris.
That,
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
okay.
He was also, his first big movie role was playing Bruce Lee's nemesis in Way of the Dragon.
Yeah.
So, and we've all seen Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh, fantastic.
I mean, we know what kind of an actor Chuck turned out to be. He's fantastic. He's as charismatic as they come. Plus, he was selling that fitness equipment later on, with that Total Gym or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to have Bruce on my squad. Or Bruce. Squad. You got to have Bruce. I got to have Chuck on my squad. I
Chuck.
can make Chuck Norris jokes, too.
So Matt, just at this point, you've got Gina Davis
Yes.
and Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, you have Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
You have Chuck Norris, and you have Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
That's looking pretty good.
And Sandy, you've got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Kurt Russell.
Yeah, and I've got to pick a drama star.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's a toss-up, but I got to be cool about this. I'm going to take Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Apollo Creed, Carl Weathers. Also Action Jackson.
See, I was going to take him for comedy based on his turn
Happy
on
Gilmore.
Arrested Development.
Sure.
Happy Gilmore.
He was
Happy
so
Gilmore
good in
too.
that.
Yeah.
He could have fit all the categories.
Yes. He's very versatile.
Great pick.
And he's
Carl
also
Weathers.
in Predator, so he could be your action guy,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly.
could be everything.
He could do everything.
He kind of was. I was debating taking him as my action guy.
He
Yeah.
can be either one of those things too, and but I'm going to definitely feel really good about Apollo Creed,
Yeah,
Carl
you
Weathers.
should.
Ding, ding.
Oh, gosh. All right.
To close it out.
It's between a couple here. I need a comedy.
Kippen's going to take Eugene Levy
Who once played bocce ball at Trinity Bellwoods.
in Hamilton,
I think
and he's his action star.
Oh gosh, this is a tough one. You know, I got two guys. This one's he's been on two shows, so I think I go, oh gosh.
Might I remind you, Matt, there are no prizes at all.
All right, I'm going to go with Terry Crews. Terry Crews.
What was your other pick?
My other pick was Tony Danza.
Go with Tony Danza.
No, you're going to live with Terry Crews.
Taking Terry Crews for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's very fun. You don't like him?
He's very funny. I think the world has reached peak Terry Crews now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, America's Got Talent. Oh, horrible.
Oh, I haven't seen him on that.
You don't want to.
So Terry Crews, of course, he played a linebacker for the Rams and the Chargers in Washington. Tony Danza was on Who's the Boss. He was a boxer. Nine wins, 3 losses. So, and he was nominated for an Emmy for his dramatic turn on The Practice. I mean, he was also nominated for many comedy things.
So now, one thing I'll give you credit for is Terry Crews actually played a sport before he became an actor.
Yeah,
true.
It's a little foggy in a couple of places you've gone tonight, but I cannot deny that you followed the right path to Terry Crews.
He did not start playing football after his
Okay, you know what? I want to, you've made your picks.
No way.
No way. Cannot go back.
No way. You can tell us who you're thinking about, though.
Okay.
It is hermetically sealed.
All
the
right.
envelope is closed.
So if
you have to live with Gina
If I wasn't going Gina Davis, I would have gone John David Washington.
Okay.
He was on the 2006 Rams practice squad. He played in NFL Europe with the Rain Fire and also played in the UFL until 2012.
Here's one I can't believe. I debated him with my first overall pick. I took Mahershala. No one took, for the dramatic actor, no one took Tommy Lee Jones.
And thank God no one took O.J. Simpson.
Well, I did not think about taking him.
I didn't think we should honor him.
No, I felt it was best. Thanks for bringing it up.
No, that's fine.
Here's one that I thought might have made its way in there is Mark Harmon, UCLA's starting quarterback for 2 seasons.
He was.
I had John Cena as a consideration.
I also had Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger just couldn't do it.
Dwayne Johnson?
The Rock, of course, could have made it. Fred Dryer, Jim Brown. But Schwarzenegger turned me down for an autograph once. You were talking about Andre the Giant, and in much the same crappy way. So I mean, what a jerk.
Also, Dave Bautista, who is actually pretty good in a lot of things too.
Here's another one. Ed O'Neill, Modern Family, and he was signed by the Steelers, but he had to compete against guys like Mean Joe Green.
Let's save some of these because our guest who's about to judge may bring some up.
Yeah,
and we want to get some surprises, or just to double down on ones that we could have taken. But certainly she's going to be excited about some of Matt's picks. So let's go and find out who our judge is and what's going on over there.
It's Gina Davis.
Judge is Gina Davis.
Okay, we're very excited here at This Day in Sports. We've drafted our teams, and of course, we needed a judge. So who do we got? Described by the Globe and Mail as a right-hot blast of funny, Ann Pornel cut her comedy teeth as a regular cast member on Sunday Night Live, a weekly sketch show here in Toronto, and continued creating biting satire at the venerated Second City Toronto main stage, where she wrote 3 critically acclaimed shows. I think that's true. I think that's actually true. They were critically acclaimed. She would move on.
I can back it up.
I mean, I got 3 stars once. She would move on to join the cast of She the People, which has toured at Just for Laughs in Montreal, Edmonton Fringe, as well as a limited engagement with Mirvish Productions, and is a Canadian Comedy Award winner and winner of the 2017 Entertainer of the Year Award from My Entertainment World. And unique perspectives on diversity, body image, and inclusion have garnered her spots on NBC's Breakout Comedy Festival and Just for Laughs 42. And has appeared on and written for the Baroness Von Sketch Show, The Beaverton, and This Hour's 22 Minutes. I even saw, and I saw you on The Social. You were even a co-host on The Social. That was fantastic.
I'm everywhere.
She's everywhere.
Currently and nowhere all at once.
She's everywhere and nowhere.
Which is nowhere.
Yeah, that's right. She's arrived nowhere. She's currently one of the co-hosts of the iconic Great Canadian Baking Show. Fantastic show, and she's fantastic on it. She was nominated for a 2021 CSA, Canadian Screen Award, for Best Co-Host. Excitingly, you can also catch her later this year on CW's brand new comedy cooking competition show, Recipe for Disaster. Ann Pornel is here. And thank you for being here.
Thank you for reading my entire bio.
I did it.
I should have edited it down.
I did it. No, I think that was fine. I mean, the fact that we to get all that information out there is important. We really want to know who you are.
My expertise, yes.
And I think that as a great improviser, you've always got a point of view, and I always think you've got a great opinion on things. So you're the perfect judge for us. And this is, of course, the category of athletes that have turned into actors or did some acting. I mean, they didn't just like give up being an athlete, but they definitely did some acting. When you first saw this list, and we can review through all these, there's only 9, so we can talk through them all. Who were some of the highlights for you off the top?
Definitely the highlight has got to be Bruce Lee, just as an iconic man who really paved the way for Asians in media. I got to rep it for Bruce Lee, basically. Yeah. Yep. And also, I am picking from one team, so maybe this is a hint as to which team I like the most. Is there anything Gina Davis cannot do? I didn't even realize she was an athlete. I just thought she was a beautiful actor and a brilliant brain. And now she's also a jock.
That's a giant stretch. We let the person who chose that, Gina Davis, choose that, just because we felt
I think the points against, if you could even come up with any points against Gina Davis, but for this category, be that she was an actor first and then took up sports, but went back to acting, still acted. So technically an athlete turned actor. So, but, she didn't start out, all of her athletics didn't come before the acting.
So, this is interesting because at first I was like, wait, then they're not an athlete turned actor. But I feel like I read something somewhere where Gina Davis said that she just stopped getting parts once she got into her 40s. Yeah. And I'm like, if that's where her athletic career started, then I'm all for it because she's just making do with what's given to her.
Yeah.
Correct.
Absolutely.
I should also just point out that Matt's a giant kiss ass. This is his team. He was like, Ann's on. I'm going to get a woman on my team for sure.
Yeah.
Get an Asian actor, So it's like,
because nobody would want Bruce Lee as their action movie star.
I'm just saying.
Sure.
It's such a kiss ass move, but that's okay. It's going in a great direction.
I don't mind being pandered to. So
no, that's true. That's very. Should have known better. Okay. Anybody else though? Just quickly, those are good two persons.
Also, didn't realize Carl Weathers was an athlete. I thought he was a serious actor turned comedian. Like I thought that was his flip. Like when he went to Arrested Development. Like I thought.
Oh yes,
right. That's what I know Carl Weathers from.
So for us who are a little older, of course, the Rocky movies were key. Like Apollo Creed character. We were talking about Predator was another one with Schwarzenegger. There's also a movie called Action Jackson, which was a big like sleepover movie when I was like 12 years old. But yeah, you all popped in the old VHS Action Jackson.
I thought that was a band.
It could be.
Is my millennial showing?
No. Luscious Jackson was a band. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Luscious Jackson was a band.
Sure. No, Carl Weathers played in the NFL. He also played in the CFL, didn't he?
Is that right? I didn't know that for sure. Yes, confirmed. What was the musician? Is it Avalonia? Was that the woman? Avalonia. She played
Apollonia.
She was an Action Jackson, and she was like a Prince adjacent musician as well.
Yes, yes.
Probably horrible, by the way. The movie's probably terrible, but as a child, I liked it.
Oh yeah.
Any of the performances you watched, you're like, oh, that's not a great actor.
I will say that I wrote one thing down for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and it has gravitas but no range.
Yes, exactly.
In the 2 clips that I watched, I did massive research for this. But I think I watched a Different Strokes clip where he played a teacher.
God. Phenomenal.
It was real. Like I thought it was really enjoyable. He was really cute, but like. Was the performance very one note? Yes. But did I like the note? Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is it in Airplane. The fact that he is so like flat is what makes this kind of the humor. And then when he's drugged and passed out and they carry him away and he's wearing his basketball shorts, it's a great reveal. That's, it's an interesting thing. And Mike, you'll have to tell me too if I'm correct here, but Bruce Lee fought Kareem, of course, in Enter the Dragon. Was it also, did he also fight Chuck Norris?
Yeah, in Bruce Lee's first big movie, Chuck Norris is the bad guy.
So this is interesting. Bruce Lee fought 2 other guys from 2 other teams.
And who won? I want to know who won the matches.
Well, I think Bruce Lee always won.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Kareem was good at martial arts, but not like a Chuck Norris. But the whole thing was just like a sight gag in a way.
Well, no, sorry, you tell Mike.
I think we're confusing Kareem. Bruce Lee fought Wilt Chamberlain, didn't he?
Ah, that's it. Okay, that's it.
Oh,
We've already gotten a couple of names wrong the last few weeks. We got to get this. I think he fought Wilt Chamberlain.
Did Kareem Abdul-Jabbar take lessons from Bruce Lee? Maybe
Bruce. Awesome. I definitely know that Kareem got into martial arts for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think I think it's Enter the Dragon, though, right? Is that the movie that I'm thinking of? Because I seem to remember that Bruce Lee goes up like almost like a parking garage, and he's slowly fighting different levels of like bad guys.
Isn't it like the Colosseum in Rome or something?
I think it's more like just a parking garage in
Colosseum.
It's a parking garage in Anaheim.
I could be wrong too. I could be wrong. We should check.
Okay. All right. You know what?
Yeah.
He did fight in a movie called Game of Death. He did fight Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
There we go. Back on track.
You were right. You were right.
Death. Yeah. Game of Death, I think, is the one with the parking garage where he slowly goes up those levels and then.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Back. That's a real. I got sweaty for a minute there.
Does Kareem Abdul-Jabbar though actually do martial arts? Because that's a lot of limb.
He does. He's very into like yoga and like centering. I think he's into martial arts. Like I would think you'd be more likely to see him doing like a Tai Chi kind of thing versus like actually trying to kill somebody.
Right.
Which they then exploited into a movie with Bruce Lee.
Why not? They're looking for movie ideas, I guess. In the 70s?
Desperately needed. Oh yeah. This is like 70s, early 80s. Hey, okay, let's pop down the list a little bit. Kurt Russell. Any opinion on Kurt Russell?
I love Kurt Russell, if only for the very problematic and does not hold up to this day movie Overboard with his wife, Goldie Hawn.
Yes.
That movie alone has Kurt in my heart forever. And I think he was also in Kill Bill or one of the if not Tarantino, then who was his buddy?
Oh, he's in he's in Tarantino. He's the one with the car. It's
yes.
The Grindhouse movies.
Yes. He was amazing in that. So I love Kurt Russell. And I also did not know he was an athlete. What did he play?
He played baseball. There's a documentary called The Battered Bastards of Baseball. It's on Netflix. It's worth seeing. His dad owned the team, and then he was playing there. But he was quite a good ball player, and he tore his shoulder. Was it his injury? It was a shoulder injury, I think it was. But can't remember. But that's a documentary worth checking out, and I think you like it even if you're not a baseball fan. It's Battered Bastards of Baseball. They were like a minor league team in like Portland.
Oh, I feel like I've heard someone recommend this film to me before. It actually might have been you.
It was me. It was actually me.
It was earlier in the podcast.
It was 5 minutes ago. Don't you remember?
That's a good choice. Yeah, he seems like a really cool guy. This is Matt and I read this the movie Bull Durham. Basically, he was considered at one point to play the lead that Kevin Costner got. And Matt and I were reading a book about it, and basically Ron Shelton, the director, told him that one day he gets this phone call on set, and basically the studio is going, look, we looked at the dailies, Ron, we don't like Kevin Costner, we got to get him out of there. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's looking fantastic. He's like, no, we're going to get rid of Costner, we're going to get Kurt Russell down there right away, we're going to reshoot everything, and Kurt's going to be the star. Long pause, and he's like, Ron Shelton's like, excuse me, is this Kurt right now? He goes, yeah, it's Kurt Russell. He called him on set to prank him, to say,
incredible.
Get rid of Costner, I'm coming down. Yeah, it was great. So, you got to love Kurt Russell even more for like that kind of shit.
Yeah, I feel like I could like there. You know how some actors, you just have a vibe of like, oh, I think you're funny, I think you're cool in real life. I've always gotten that vibe from Kurt Russell.
Yeah, and Goldie Hawn. I mean,
power couple. They're still together, right?
Yeah.
Good.
I love that.
And I still believe in love if they are. Good.
Thank you. We got here Terry Crews. Any opinion on Terry Crews? How you feeling with that?
Iconic. He plays against type in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You gotta love a big guy who knows he's a big guy, so he's gonna use it to his advantage for more comedy gold. Terry Crews is so funny. And he didn't let his appearance in White Chicks stop himself. Because I feel like he had a spin of like playing some really loser dudes, right? Or maybe it's just that one film.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good call.
Yeah, but
he certainly commits, I would say. When like he goes for it, whereas other people may try and keep their cool or something like that. Terry Crews commits.
I want you to remember this. this commitment. I want you to remember this because I got a bone to pick with you three of some omissions from this list.
Okay. That's good. You're
I'm already
right into our hands here. That's good.
Hey, Burt Reynolds. Let's talk about Burt Reynolds.
I feel like Burt Reynolds is a person who I have probably watched in many films, but if he doesn't have the mustache, I don't know that it's him.
Yeah.
Like, that's just who he is. But I got to be honest, I just put a bunch of question marks because of this. I'm like, I think I have an opinion on Burt Reynolds other than being a playgirl, like Centerfold, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's all you need to know.
That's all I want to know.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah.
I mean, I think we can pretty much just go ahead and say that Burt Reynolds was on Mike's team. So, Mike, what was your defense of Burt Reynolds?
I have 2 words for you: Smokey and Bandit.
I like how you could have just said Smokey and the Bandit, but
you just left out the somehow.
and Bandit.
Okay, I have a counter. I have 2 words. What's that?
There you go. We're showing the gap in our ages here. Yeah. What about Boogie Nights?
Oh, that was like the movie I was not allowed to watch. So
yeah. Well, Ann's 19. So that should be
I'm just a fresh-faced 19-year-old. I was born in 2000.
Wow. There you go. Well, but yeah, if you go back and you see movies like Deliverance, The Longest Yard, these are 70s movies where he was very strong in, obviously. Yeah. No mustache in Deliverance, as I remember.
No.
Correctly. Longest Yard, I might have seen it.
That's the scary one, right? Like, I feel like Deliverance is the one that scared a lot of people. Like, scarred too.
It's disturbing.
Yeah.
It's very disturbing.
You remember on Celebrity Jeopardy on SNL?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Norm Macdonald is always playing Burt Reynolds.
Yes.
If that gets any points for Burt.
Yeah, that won't help.
No, it does. And I'll tell you why. Because as I was watching some of the clips of Burt Reynolds, I was like, he reminds me of someone. He's like a hot Norm Macdonald. I literally had that thought, and I was like, I don't know. I think I'm making that up, but I guess there's a reason for it.
You should chew some gum and wear a big novelty cowboy.
He always wear the cowboy hat. And I remember one of the best quick bits was when they did the Star Wars auditions, and Norm Macdonald played Burt Reynolds auditioning to play Darth Vader. And he was in the audition. Right. They just cut to him at the audition. He's chewing his gum for a long time. He goes, "What kind of car does this guy drive?" That's it. The cutaway.
Huge. I guess that makes him pretty iconic then, right? If you were being satirized or impersonated, you got to be pretty good, or at least successful.
There was certainly a time, I would say probably in the early 80s, Burt Reynolds was the biggest star in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a huge, for my parents' generation, he was like the sex symbol of the, you know what I mean? Like, so I picked it for them.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like, what sport did he play?
He played college football at Florida State University.
Oh.
Yeah. And he got hurt, and so he kind of had to quit and do something else. So he chose iconic cheesy action movies.
Wow. That's a great pivot. Actually, for an athlete.
Yeah, not
especially
bad.
For a football player, right? Like, don't they kind of finish their careers when they're 30? And then they have their whole lives after that.
Yeah.
That is true. Mahershala Ali.
Also did not know this actor was an athlete, because just a beautiful actor.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, if I had an opinion, which I always do, that he's the best actor on this list by quite a shot.
Oh, yeah.
So, Mike, you did well to pick him.
Easily.
But tell Ann about his athletic career.
Yeah.
He played college basketball for 4 years. He wasn't like going to be an NBA player. And I think he kind of recognized it and said, you know what, I'm going to pivot before I even try. But you can find clips of him playing on YouTube and stuff. It's not like he just sat on the bench either. Like, he did play, and it was a Division I school. Like, they were a good, you know what I mean? Like, he could play. It's not a stretch. Like, he played a year in high school in grade 9.
Okay.
And then won 2 Oscars. He genuinely could play and then won 2 Oscars.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Deeply impressive. Yes.
It's so funny that as a nearly professional athlete or a professional college athlete, and you think it's not going to go the full route, you thought, what's an easier career than professional sports? Oh, acting. Like, just as easily successful at. Like, that's what a jump. What a talented person he is.
What an amazing guy. Yeah.
Honestly.
We have to get him on the show, and if he's on the show and you get like a finder's fee, you get to be on the show as well.
Amazing. Like I am his agent, so
and
I
also Ann Pornel is here. So we had Chuck Norris. Now I'm curious if Chuck Norris for you is similar to like a Burt Reynolds, like for your generation. Is it
no, I hate Chuck Norris, and here's why. I'm very sorry, Mike. I hate Chuck Norris, and it is for this reason alone. I used to do subtitling at a media company. So not closed captioning, subtitles. Mm-hmm. And the difference is sound effects. I didn't have to do sound effects. And one of the shows I had to work on was Walker's Texas Ranger.
Oh my God.
And there is not enough money in the world to pay me to want to ever work on Walker Texas Ranger. It was just so annoying. And I saw how bad of an actor he is. So for me, Chuck Norris is successful as a joke and as a meme. Because I feel like Chuck was all about didn't he have that whole in the aughts, like Chuck Norris doesn't die. He just, no,
you're right. That was the whole thing was like, exactly. Chuck Norris doesn't do this. He created that or whatever it was. Yeah,
Chuck Norris can dribble a bowling ball.
Exactly.
Is that the one you remembered? Or you just looked that up?
No, I remember that one.
That was in your pocket.
Chuck Norris drinks a mug full of nails every morning. There's like a whole bunch of those stupid ones. Yeah.
There's a ton. Yeah, there's so many. Here, it's but I also remember it was fun was on Conan. I don't know if you remember on Conan. He had like a big stick and he could pull it. And when he pulled the stick, it would show a scene from Walker, Texas Ranger.
That's right.
Yes.
And then he's like, then they'd show it. It'd be just such like there was one that was Haley Joel Osment was the kid on the show in this episode, and it was I honestly think the clip, and I don't think I'm totally exaggerating this. It was like Chuck Norris going like, "Listen, kid, when you get out there, you got to do everything you can to succeed because that's what dreams are made of. You think success, you gain success." It's like, "Oh, thanks, Walker. So how did my dad die of AIDS?"
No!
And it's like, what? And they come back and everyone's like, what? And the audience is like, what? Everyone's just like freaking out. Andy's like, oh my God, what the hell was that? And he goes, I don't know. I mean, you pull this stick. I don't know what scene's going to happen. It could be any random thing, but there's no possible way. I'm going to pull it again. And you just like, he would just show like 3 in a row. And then later in the show, he's like, I just don't wonder if I should maybe just get another Walker scene. And this whole bit was so great. Like,
Carl Weathers couldn't handle a scene like that.
No, you get no chance.
You know what I mean? Carl Weathers couldn't do that.
It was like the craziest left turn that was like, what is this show about? Like,
I feel like that show was just sort of a PSA. Like it was just lines to be like, hey kid, don't give up, or don't give up on life, or life will give up on you. It was like that was the script.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. It was a giant PSA. I just because we're inspired, and Matt lost power, so he's gone for a bit.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's really upset at my take on Chuck Norris.
Time waits for no man unless that man is Chuck Norris. If you spell Chuck Norris in Scrabble, you win forever.
Yeah.
Like Chuck Norris breathes air 5 times a day.
I feel like this was, if there was Tinder around back at these memes, you would know to swipe left on anyone who put a Chuck Norris joke in their profile. Like it told you who this person was like that. So I can appreciate it, but also get out of here.
No, it's annoying. It's like a guy saying, that's what she said. It's like that kind of exactly. Look at Matt. The fans at home are not just the podcast or on YouTube. Matt is like a floating head right now.
Lost power over here. Is this should I just go away?
You should stay. Oh no, God, no.
You can tell our fortune.
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz is here. We were just talking about Chuck Norris. We did some Chuck Norris memes to kill time till you came back.
Okay.
This is the final one I'm going to give you. When God said, "Let there be light," Chuck Norris said, "Say please." Okay, that's so. And is saying that's the guy you swipe left on.
Yeah. Yuck.
Oh, it's so gross. It's so gross. Well, I mean, but Mike, you had Mahershala Ali and then Chuck Norris. So you made a lot of points, I think, on one, then maybe lost some there, so maybe you landed in the middle.
But I'm not so I personally hate him, but that's because of my life. That doesn't speak to his talent.
You're not wrong. He's a terrible actor. It kind of, I mean, I was kind of sabotaging myself on purpose just to amuse myself, Okay. Even calling him an actor is sort of a loose, you know what I mean?
You're being very generous.
Sort of a jeans model at best,
Yeah. I just remember, didn't he do ads for one of the Republicans?
Oh yeah. Oh, he's a totally contemptible political. Oh yeah. I was sort of amusing myself more than anything. Like the idea that I would actually admire this person being an actor myself. No, it was sort of, I don't know. I mean, sometimes you just do these things for the amusement of it, rather than actually trying to win. I obviously was not trying to win.
I like though that you are now having to explain yourself. Yeah. We're holding you accountable for this.
I'm actually trying to explain it to myself, to be perfectly honest with you.
I'm going to do a quick review of each of these teams, and then Ann, you're going to come down and get down to that decision point.
Yeah.
Team 1, we had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Carl Weathers, Kurt Russell. Team 2, we had Terry Crews, Gina Davis, Bruce Lee. Team 3, Burt Reynolds, Mahershala Ali, and Chuck Norris. And your decision on this?
Bit of a no-brainer, but I will say Team 1 had Kurt Russell, so I was that's a really strong pull for me personally. But I got to give it to Team 2.
Yeah.
Simply because of Gina Davis. Sorry, everyone. She was in a league of her own, and she was a bad-ass bitch. Hopefully I can swear, because I can't think of it.
Absolutely can.
Totally can.
But, Mahershala Ali also has Oscars to his name. So
I have the most Oscars, even having Chuck Norris on my team.
You do.
I think he might.
But I can't argue with your choice, though. Gina Davis is pretty badass.
Yeah, and Terry Crews, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of the, I would say, the late aughts, one of the standout comedies. So for that alone, too, got to give it up for a very funny person. And I think not Bruce Lee. I was like, he could do comedy. I don't know that
really.
he could.
You don't know that.
You do a lot of things.
I don't know that.
I think if Bruce Lee had lived longer, he may have gone into the more maybe ironic stuff or comedies, or he'd be doing a Pepsi commercial or something that would be kind of humorous, I imagine. But we'll never know. We'll never know. So basically, my team has the most NBA championships. Mike's team has the most Oscars, but Matt's team has this victory. What are you gonna say, Mike?
No, and an archer.
And an archer. Yeah. Yes.
Team 2 could kill Team 1 and 3.
That's right.
With their hands.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess if Chuck Norris was any good.
From a distance, the bow and arrow would kill you.
But the distance is that's a challenging thing. It's kind of funny. It's because even Carl Weathers, I don't know, Carl Weathers could box in a movie, but could he really in real life? But the thing is, we all know is that Bruce Lee could actually kick ass in real life. Gina Davis actually has the archery. Terry Crews is obviously jacked.
Yeah.
The only chance.
Just stand there.
I don't know. just stand there. And this is fantastic. Thank you for bringing your judgment down. And now I would like to ask you, because now we're outside of the judgment, there are some bones to fix.
Yes.
Yes, go for it.
Where are the professional wrestlers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are they not athletic enough? Is this discrimination against professional wrestling? We got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, number 1. Number 2, we have, oh my God, John Cena.
Yep.
Number 3, Dave Bautista. 4, didn't Jesse Ventura do something?
Oh, yeah. He's also in Predator with Carl Weathers.
Yeah. And the reason why I feel offended by it is because of all of, regardless of a skill that an athlete actually has, the thing that professional wrestlers have is the commitment to a bit. They might not even be that good of an actor, but they really commit to whatever it is they're doing. And it really translates into more honest performances than many other types of actors. I I would like to, like, I loved My Spy, and I don't even know, like, why I liked it as much as I did. And, you know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is like a certified movie star.
Big time.
Yeah. So
well, that's
why not?
No, that's really good. And when we did after the draft, we did say, who are you thinking about? And The Rock came up, and John Cena came up. Dave Bautista did not come up. Did he come up too?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So they all did come up. They were on the periphery. So yeah. So maybe if there'd been a fourth choice each, they might have made it there.
Yeah.
Well, I also wonder if it's not that, you know, there is performing is an element of wrestling.
Absolutely.
You know, so are they? You could argue that they're already performers to a certain degree, and maybe there's not as much of a crossover.
Okay.
Certainly, they are athletes as well. I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm saying certainly a lot of them are already demonstrating a very high level of performance.
Yes, and that's why they are so good with the bits, because
exactly.
I would take whatever that person in the dark is saying, but I can't trust the source because I can't see anything.
Can you not see the glowing face? We also didn't do bodybuilders, because then you have
Schwarzenegger,
Arnold, of course,
Lou Ferrigno, you know, like
of course.
We didn't do classy individuals, so we didn't do O.J. Simpson, but we thought about it. That definitely would have been a turnoff. That would have been like the exact opposite if you want to get votes, I suppose.
What a person, like, just what an up and down of a, like, where in pop culture, OJ had the whole roller coaster. He had multiple ups and downs, mostly downs, but I feel like there was a time where we were like, he's guilty. And that's how we treated it. Not he's guilty, but like, he's guilty. Like, but then we came around and we're like, he's guilty.
Finally came around.
Yeah. We all got on the right side of history.
After he was declared innocent, we then really got serious that he was guilty. It was kind of like, we don't have to say it. They're gonna say it. They're gonna say it, right? And they didn't say it. I think that's when the entire world was like, whoa, now we've got to say it.
Yeah. It's when irony died.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. And thank you so much. I'm glad we closed on OJ. That was that's a roller coaster.
You know what? Yeah. He finishes a lot of things, right? So
that's it. Great work. We'd love to have you back. Because, you know, you're doing all these cooking shows. I think we're going to have you back at some point, because we're going to try to tie in some cooking and eating, like maybe it's like food endorsements, something like that. Over the years. So we'll bring you back for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Ann.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right. There we go. Another decision made, and some embarrassing picks that were talked about, but also great picks as well. I think these are great teams. This is actually, these teams actually, you should all like it would be great if just each of these individually could have made a movie together.
Yeah, it would be really interesting.
A lot of hot picks in there. Well, that's it for March 8th. We covered it off pretty well this time around, I thought.
We did. Yeah.
This is it for this day in sports. Any parting comments from anybody before we go out? Dead silence. All right, March 8th, this day in sports. I've been Sandy Joe Bevins.
I'm Matt Kippen.
And I'm Mike Shera.
See you next time.